Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for your support of Indie Agency News. A reminder that we have a show every day. We have a show every day at 9 a.m. Pacific time. Go to indieagency.news. You will learn more about what these shows are. We do radio on Mondays. We do Meet an Indie Agency on Wednesdays. I skipped Tuesday for a reason. We do indie work live on Thursdays, and then it's fun and games on Fridays. But Tuesdays are all about indie thinking. And the idea behind this is that it started with this goes back to my Adweek days. I wanted to bring op-eds to life, and I just thought that would be kind of fun. Let's see what we do with it, and we've done that here. We've definitely done that. Thank you to a few people who have shared their opinions. But the thing about indie thinking is, it goes across the entire spectrum of our industry. It could be research. It could be a way of thinking. It could be maybe a new process that's been developed. Something. Everything is about indie thinking. So we decided to broaden the scope of it. And we're super, super excited to have one of the industry's best thinkers in the business, Luis Camano, my friend from Los Angeles. We came up together in the Think LA days, still the Think LA days. I'm the executive director of Think Northwest, and we have this kinship together. And Luis and I are in Act 3 of our careers, so we have a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
But Luis is just amazing. And yes, creative mentor and coach absolutely is the best way to describe Luis. Give us a little bit of a background on your path to now. Tell us a little bit more about you.
Doug, thank you so much for inviting me. It's a pleasure being here. But yeah, my career, it's been a long one in advertising. A profession that I loved. I still love it today. I will love it till the day I die. So, I've started in Buenos Aires at BBDO and then was transferred to BBDO in New York, and that's how my American career started. And then, basically, I was at BBDO. Too many people there. 1,300 people at that time.
Well, that's a few.
Yeah, and so I moved to Boston to work for Ingalls, an agency that then was swallowed by Arnold, but I was already in LA by then. So,
okay.
But I got sick of winters there, and so I said, you know what? Yeah, I totally said, you know what? And I left without a job. I came to LA with a portfolio, and then I started looking for work.
As long as you didn't walk into LA wearing Celtics uniform, then
no, I did that once when I went to
bad idea.
Yeah,
oh, that's a bad
to the Forum.
Oh yeah, no, that was just, yeah. You and I are like kids of the '80s, so yeah, bad idea, bad idea with it. Yeah,
but I mean, I have a long, great career, and I'm in a phase of my life for the past 5 years where I love to teach.
Yep.
And I go around the country and sometimes the world and teaching young professionals in advertising, because I think, we need this industry to get better.
Yeah.
Some of the things that we endure when we were younger are no longer cool. The old way of managing and the old way of. So I teach at college. I mentor kids. I mentor professionals, and this is what I do. That's why I'm here in front of you.
Yeah, and the other thing too is to note as well is that you've done what we're going to talk about your entire program. We're going to get a little snippet of it, but you do this in Cannes, which is really important. And the point that I think that is really important to make is you're absolutely right. The things that you and I did back earlier in our careers, you kind of look at now and go, huh? But I will say that for people of our age and experience, sometimes people in our cohorts can be too nostalgic about it. Now, there's a difference between being nostalgic about something, but there's a big difference between that and taking the pieces that are institutional knowledge that still remain, that are important to understand as foundational pieces of being successful in this industry, stripping away all the other, the garbage that's there. And it is important to have that institutional knowledge. And from what you've told me about Cannes, it's eye-opening, especially for young and new professionals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because they didn't know.
No, they don't know. And the point here is that yes, all the experience that I had and we had during the last years, were basic to what I'm doing right now, and what kids don't know right now. So it's there. I have a we old school guys have a lot of tools to teach
Right.
that seem to be new, and that's
Yeah.
the interesting part. Yeah.
Yeah, and what I tell, especially students I teach as well, and what I tell students or I tell anybody in the business is when you start your career, you get an empty toolbox. And over time, you start filling that with tools. And there comes a point when that toolbox is full and you pull out what you need, as opposed to trying to just dump the whole toolbox
Yeah.
onto the table. It's important to be very selective about that.
Hmm.
And I think the other piece of this too that's important for young and new people in this industry to understand is, to your point earlier, you care about this industry. I care about this industry. And as stewards of that, we're not sitting here trying to be like, oh, this, rah, rah, rah. It's quite the opposite, where we simply want to be helpful and we want to be a safety net for young and new people as well. And it's like, yeah, you know what? Maybe I don't spend all day on Snapchat, but the fact of the matter is that there are some things I might be able to help you with, and we're very open and willing to do whatever we can to help you move along in a positive way. And I think
Absolutely.
that gets lost. That gets lost.
Yeah. So.
So let's talk a little bit about we're going to pull one piece of this really amazing workshop that you do.
Mhm.
We're gonna peel one piece of it off, and we're gonna talk about creative bias. But I'd like you to go over the entirety of what this, what you do when you bring the full meal in.
Yeah, and the point here is that there was a lot of talk about bias in the industry. There still is,
Yeah.
obviously, and that's a topic that a few years ago, I was not familiar in terms of going in depth. Um,
Mm,
and there's a lot of holes that one have in regards to the knowledge of this, and things that you do and things how you act, that might be in a way offensive without you not knowing it, right?
right. Right.
So I decided to write this workshop to, first of all, help me
Yeah.
understand better the situation, and then see if this topic was something that people, agencies were interested, and they were. So
Right.
so that was the basic of my research. I
Right.
started looking at a problem. That's what I do, and then I do the research, and then I put my voice, my experience.
Yep.
The other thing I want to also say, Doug, is that when I give a workshop or a talk, it's me talking. It's not a book. It's me, my
Mhm.
experiences, my knowledge, how to adapt to different situations, all the things that I lived through
Yep.
in this wonderful
Yeah.
profession. So,
And I'm looking forward to going through this because it's, you and I have, I think, interesting backgrounds. You've talked about Buenos Aires. I spent 5 years in hip hop and R&B radio, which was an amazing experience. But the fact of the matter is that we still, as human beings, have these levels of bias, and it's important to really dig into this. So let's dig in. I like the name tag. You just get out of the gate hot.
absolutely. I mean, we have brains. We we have bias.
Yep.
There's no, and that should not be a in detriment for to ourselves. It's reality.
Hmm.
um, we're all biased. So, and then as you go through the presentation, you can see I just this is a very quick intro about
Sure.
all the different type of biases. I just wrote down a few of them. There's thousands,
Yep.
but and then I give some examples of people. Let's say if you send a resume, right?
Right.
And the ratio of responses that you get. If
Yep.
you are Adam, if your name is Adam, you get 12 responses per 100 identical applications. If you're Mohammed, you get 4, and that's today. It's not 10 years ago. It's today.
Mm,
Um, and when you look at the resume also, which is a big filter, right?
Right.
And you don't think about the people that are reading the resumes, and you could see on the next slide all the biases that you can see there. It's like it's the halo effect. Hey, he works at Google, so he must
Right.
be great,
Right.
right? That's one. Or the group thing. Oh well, my boss likes him, so I should like him.
Right.
Um,
Right.
or whatever. I mean, there's so many biases already without even meeting the person.
Right. Right.
So and a great study, if you go to the next one,
I was
is
just gonna
this.
say, I saw the education.
Yeah,
I
it's
studied at
so great.
UCL, and I'm an idiot. So, here we go.
It's so great because, okay, here's Michael. This was a group study research. One group of people, 20 people or 50 people, were giving one resume, and the other one, um, same resume but slightly different. The difference was Michael applied his creativity to design a new line of running shoes and the position for something highly innovative and entrepreneurial. And the other group got the resume with he applied his creativity to design a new line of sex toys,
Okay.
right?
Yep.
So the question was this to the groups: how much is Michael a conventional thinker versus an innovative thinker? And the answer of group one was the one with the running shoes was way bigger than the one with sex toys.
Right.
Right there, it shows bias already, and because of the product that he came up with.
Right.
So these are all we're judging innovation, we're judging entrepreneurial, judging creativity, and here we are faced with this dilemma, right?
Right.
And it
Right.
happens. So
Yep. So let's go
um
back. Yeah. And so going
again,
back to
calling back
that.
again, if you're Sandra, you're fine, or you're better than Miriam.
Yep.
And if you're wearing something on your head, it's even worse. um, or even the today salaries of students, college students that go to work, and you can see the ratio between male and female.
Right.
So
Still staggering.
this is a global view of bias in general.
Mhm.
Now we can dig into creative bias if you want.
Right. So
And
yeah. And so when we talk about some biases too, we've heard a lot about digital bias, technology bias, the algorithms that are designed by, white men,
yeah,
and that bias. And so, interesting. Obviously, intuitively, we know that there is going to be creative bias. We've seen it in the work. We've seen it in the work over the years. But now it's really about digging into this a bit
yeah.
deeper. So,
And,
what
mhm.
is creative bias?
Well, there's a definition there that you can see, and I'm going to touch on the AI later in this deck
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
because I mean I have examples, real life examples of what um, AI does to us, basically. But the definition, it's this, right? But the main point is that it relies on assumptions that about groups of people rather than the truth, right?
yep,
Um, and so if you go to the next one, and I want to touch, there's intentional overt
right.
bias, which is advertisers push a perspective. The most important here is the covert, the unintentional.
Mhm.
It's the bias that it's ingrained in us
Yes,
because we make the decisions, right? I mean, with the intentional, we can advise the advertisers, well, you know what, you shouldn't do this because of that. But
right.
we need to get better at ourselves. And that's why I touch on the unintentional and the covert, which is more dangerous than the other one. So,
Yeah, yep,
um, and for example, the confirmation bias is one that probably is one of the most common. And it's we have our beliefs.
mhm,
Here are the facts and the evidence, and we don't want to, if we don't agree with the facts and evidence, we don't want to hear that. We just want to believe what we believe. So we look for there's a cartoon, right? There's a cartoon next to or the next slide, or no? Yeah, that it's, it's so perfect because because let me research, right? Let
Right.
me research this,
Do
and
my
then
own
you go to
research.
look, and the first thing that you see that supports your thought, you said, okay, there you go, I'm right.
Right.
That's not the case. What you need to do is do research, real research, and as I say, you need to prove yourself wrong.
That's the kicker right there.
That's the kicker. And then
True, but nobody wants to necessarily do that, right?
no, no, but I mean, we are in communications, we're in marketing, we need to
Yes.
do the research, we need to be curious,
Yep.
right? That's the point that kills me.
Is part of it moving too fast? Like, we move too fast.
Yeah, that's true, but we should, I mean, again, that's where the old school thinking needs to be in place. Okay, it said,
Mhm.
you know what, stop the ball right here, let's think about it.
Yep.
Those 10, 15, 30 minutes that you think about and you stop things could save you a nightmare.
That's
So
okay. I love that point, because so the demands on agencies are so vast, right?
yeah,
And the demands on creatives it's massive as well. And to your point, what you've said here, and I want to reiterate this point, is what you're talking about here, Luis, is not we're going to spend days on this. Just start with 15 to 30 minutes to try to prove yourself wrong. That's a valuable investment of really not a lot of time, to
no,
your point of not making sure that you're not messing anything up here.
yeah, and today we have so many tools to prove ourselves wrong at our fingertips, as opposed to in the past. So we take advantage of that. It doesn't matter. And the thing is that um, this I put this example because it was so popular at the
Yeah.
time, and but I always saw it as blue, but you know what? But then I asked myself, why do people see it gold? So I did the research.
Right.
It's a scientific thing.
Right.
It's our brain that it depends on the light that you're watching, that you see in this photo, or
Yep.
it depends if it's a dark or like so. So do the research, and in general, and other topics too, understand the other side's point of view.
Technically, it was gold and white.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the
So
story. Yes.
so
Yeah.
yeah, because it was dark, and the way
Yep.
I saw it, it was blue, right?
Yeah,
For
yeah, yeah.
me,
Yeah,
for me.
I
But I
see it blue.
wanted to know, if you stay with your thinking, you don't advance,
Right.
you don't grow. Just see the other side's point of view.
Yes.
And we're gonna go into we can go into the political game. I mean, see
No,
the
no,
other
no, no,
side.
no. Let's
No,
not do that now.
no,
No,
no.
not today.
So no, no, no. But so here I go more into detail, like to just say, there's two big statements here. This is how bias kills business, which is this slide, and this is on us. This is
Mhm.
absolutely on us. Talent pool today. The talent pool is huge,
Massive. Yeah.
um, and I see people not taking advantage of that. Um,
Again, this goes back to we move so fast that it's
yeah,
the most convenient
yeah.
thing at our disposal.
So I advise everyone to take some time, and look, because there are a lot of people out there that could help the the um, the fabric of the agency, or the fabric of the company, right?
Right.
Um, Lack of real innovation. We go too fast, and sometimes innovation is okay. Let's do what we did before, but
Mhm.
with a different twist. Missing out on creative ideas because again we don't have time, or we don't give our, and I'm putting myself in this spot as a creative director, we don't give the right feedback to our teams.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
it's very easy to dismiss an idea in 1 second.
It is, isn't it?
It's
Yes.
more difficult to take 5 minutes and Explain why.
Yeah. The
Uh,
best creative directors I ever met were those who did.
exactly.
Yeah, when I was at the Martin Agency, not in Indy, but loved them and loved my experience there. I would listen to some of and that was like a master class in explaining to
Hmm.
strategists and explaining to creatives. And I've seen this at a lot of indie agencies too, because they do put a little bit more of a premium on, like, we're small, we're independent,
Yep.
so we need to make sure that we're covering everything that we can here.
Yeah.
But you're right. It just, yeah, even a simple pause to explain it makes huge difference.
Yeah, and that's a good point, Doug, because I mean, almost my entire career I worked for um omnicom agencies, right?
Right.
Big, the budget, this, that, the
Yeah, yeah.
numbers.
Yep.
And then I worked, the last one I was an independent multicultural agency, and it was a quite a change in thinking and in timing that
Interesting.
really surprised me.
Huh. Okay.
um because I was like, oh, I can think a little more here. I can I can kind of like drive a concept, a campaign to the place where I want, and with some more time and more thinking and deeper thinking. So, but anyhow,
No, I love that.
um, but so if you go to the next one, um, here I love this one because it's about how bias kills innovation and creativity, and that's the
Mhm.
point here. Um, these are all phrases that you hear every single day in our industry
Mm.
from agencies and clients. Agencies are too demanding. We know what our customers want. I'm not creative. I hate that phrase. I'm not creative. Everyone is.
Everybody is. And
Yeah,
enjoy the dog barking in the
that's
background.
okay. It's he's has an opinion, and I'm okay
She
with that.
does. She's a very opinionated
Yeah.
golden retriever.
Um, the client doesn't know anything, right? You hear that, or
Well,
the agency doesn't listen,
that's dangerous.
right? So, but let's go to the first one. If you go to the next slide, which is a interesting article it was in December of last year.
Yep. I remember
So,
this. Yep.
so agencies, the agencies are claiming for guidance,
Yep.
for mentorship. Agencies today, in general, the ones that I go to a lot of agencies and I observe, they don't spend any time on mentoring. There's money, time, all that is out. That's why Gen Zs are demanding. I would be demanding that too if I
Right.
were starting advertising. And you know what? Mentoring, guidance, direction is good business for the agencies. It's not a waste of time or money. So yes, they're demanding, but they're demanding right. We should spend more time in mentorship. I do. That's what I do. I do a lot of mentorship,
Mhm.
and I love it. I mean, I love it, and you know, the people that want to get mentorship, they really appreciate, and you know what? And they grow faster than the rest.
They do.
So
Yep.
it's proven. So. Uh,
Mhm. Mhm.
um, this is something that I do
This
because
is the exercise you were telling
yeah,
me
I
about.
really think,
I like this.
yeah,
And this is like a little sampler platter for everybody.
because we all say, oh, bias here, bias there. We talk about this, yeah. We never look at it at ourselves. We never look at inside, and we need to start with oneself in
Yep.
this case. So there's an exercise about which I'm gonna go next, but the main part of killing bias is being vulnerable.
Yep.
As you as and if, especially if you're in a position of like a creative director, a boss, or
Yep.
you're in the C-suite, you need to be the one that's vulnerable, and you need to show vulnerability. This is what I did every time that I went into a new agency, and they presented the creative team to me.
Mm.
What I stood up, and the first thing that I always said was, okay, great to meet you. These are my weaknesses,
Mhm.
and these are my good parts, right?
This is all
My
the weird
strength.
shit you're gonna figure out anyway.
Yeah,
So we might as well get it out of the way.
exactly. And you know what, guys? I need you to help me with my weaknesses.
Yep.
And I will help you with your weaknesses and I will help you with your strengths. But we need to understand each other. So when a boss says that takes the first step, everyone else drops their guard down
Yep.
and we start a conversation.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
that's the first step that you need to do. And then we go into branding. And why is branding important? Because I could go on and on and on, but there's a quote by Jeff Bezos that you will all understand, which I think is great. You know, your brand is what other people say about you when you're not in the room. I was outside that room in many steps of my career, and then I was
Mm.
inside that room the rest of my career.
Mhm.
And you realize that we make decisions about the people that have a brand that
Mhm.
we know. Okay, Doug is um,
The weirdo from
Doug.
school.
You know, Doug is irresponsible. Doug doesn't show
Wait,
up.
what?
Whatever.
Oh my
Or
god.
Luis, sorry, I changed that
Don't
for
say
to
that.
Luis. Um,
Jeez.
so
Which Doug are you referring to?
yeah, so so that's what decisions I made about you and you. So
Yeah, yeah.
promotions, you've been laid off, all those
Oh,
things
yeah.
happen.
No, yeah. No, and speaking of vulnerability, I when I was a creative director in radio, I was known as number 1, the guy who's really fun to party with, and then secondly, a good creative.
Mhm.
It was like, "Oh, I don't think that's really what I want."
Yeah.
So, I had to fix that, and I did. So,
So,
yeah.
so that's why it's important. Branding yourself is important as a
Yep,
person, as a professional. And
exactly.
this is a very simple exercise,
Yep.
and people
And
can do
this
it.
is hard, by the way, because you
Ye-
put this in front of me and I'm thinking, "Oh, man,
Yeah,
okay." And then I'm trying to think, like, all of these little pieces. So I, looked at my LinkedIn, like, headline of my LinkedIn.
yeah.
I looked at social media profiles. It's just trying to, and it's interesting because we can say things that are short. So one that comes up for me is like affable. Like everyone's like, "Oh yeah, he's a decent, he's a pretty
Mhm.
decent guy." He seems like a decent guy. Um, but it is interesting because especially with somebody like you and me who have a lot of experience, we're probably again thinking of bias, like, well, what do I need to say that's going to make me sound good?
Yeah.
Or even especially younger people, it's like it's that too, because oh, I have to code switch in a way where I now have to present myself in a way that's going to make me look good,
Hmm.
right? So resisting the vulnerability.
Yeah, and I do this exercise with a lot of people, young, old, um, middle age,
Right.
and it's every time it's fascinating. So but because the thing is that you can write your phrase, your sentence. This
Sure.
is a headline. I mean, we're an industry of headlines, right? You need to write your
I
headline,
know that. Yeah.
right? But the kicker comes in when you start sharing that headline with people you know,
Right.
because you perceive yourself as someone, people might perceive you differently.
Yeah.
So by showing the world, and again, vulnerability, by showing the world your headline, you need to listen at the feedback, what they're saying, and then you can revise it, and then you'll have something that you own. And
Yep.
then when you own that headline, you're all set.
And here's the other thing too, is once you go through this exercise, this is again, this idea of vulnerability. Once you go through this exercise, this opens up your mind into areas where it's going to be beneficial for your client, for a brand, for a campaign, for an idea, because you have started to loosen up some of that tension that
Hmm.
comes into that.
Yeah. And obviously that headline could change with
Sure.
different stages of your life. So
Right.
you understand, but this is the exercise, and then I show an example
Right.
from a creative team that was
That's
working.
Wyden.
Yeah.
There's our Wyden friends.
Yeah. Yes, yes. Fail harder. They came up with that. They were not getting to the idea, but that's their representation. And then also, as part of the exercise, I asked people to visualize it. If you go to the next slide,
Mhm.
And these are some examples of people that work, that had my
Oh
workshops.
my gosh.
Um,
I love I put out the production manager. That is so
yes, right.
accurate.
So, but
Oh, these are all so good.
these are real examples of people that did this
Oh,
exercise.
oh
Very
my gosh,
interesting, and it,
so
again,
good.
because the more you visualize it and the more you own it, the more confidence you get, and the
Oh my
more
gosh.
you can define yourself and say, "This is me."
I wanna do this, but we don't have
So,
time.
no, it's okay.
Oh my gosh.
And
Alright, so
then,
let's go through this real quick.
yeah, there's 5 steps to keep bias in check. Keep, curiosity. We talk about curiosity. You don't need to just
Right.
keep going. And an example is Sigrid Jacob is a phenomenal strategist and anthropologist. So anthropology is the face of curiosity. We need to think
Yep,
more like them.
yep,
Keep going. Hang out with people you don't look like you.
yep,
In advertising, and then the next photo is, this is a group, a very diverse group, right? They're all in advertising. We're
right,
not diverse, even if we have a different accent or a different skin color.
right.
We all go to the same bars. We all need to get to know other people that don't look like us, or don't
Yeah,
act like us, right?
yep,
Diversify. Exercise intellectual humility, which is this. Um, Creativity needs to be unbound, meaning we cannot be stuck in just one path. We need to open up our heads. Our job is to be creative, and I'm not talking about only creative directors. I'm
yeah.
just talking about agency people.
Everybody,
um, just
everybody.
just unbound your creativity.
I'll give you a quick example. So when you said I'm not creative, so this is an entertainment reference.
Yeah.
So in Seinfeld, the episode where Bryan Cranston as Tim Watley, the dentist, takes a little hit of the laughing gas before he puts it on Jerry. That came from one of the stagehands. The stagehand was leaning against a ladder, and I encourage people to find this. It's like, what would be funny is if you took a hit of that before you put it on Jerry. And that was like the most iconic classic part of the episode. And we couldn't he tells that story, Bryan Cranston tells that story, but it's a really it's true. I mean, it's
Yep.
absolutely true. When I was in radio, I mean, I was a team of like 1 or 2. I had an art director, but you really needed that input. And
Mhm.
part of it wasn't so much, as the creative director, I'd go in and say, here's what I'm thinking. And so you get that input. But then the other thing too is you're growing account reps, you're growing talent, the on-air talent, you're growing the managers and saying, no, this is how I'm thinking. What about this? What about this? What about this? Everybody got better at
Absolutely.
every
It gets
aspect of the
better. It gets
business.
better. We
Yeah.
want to own the ideas, right?
Yeah.
So, but we need the input of others. We
Yep.
need to let that come.
Yep.
As for feedback, because what we don't know, we don't know.
Yep.
And you know what? I've been in many situations where I was afraid to ask a question
Oh,
about
ditto.
gender or
Yeah.
about whatever,
Trying to
because
save
you
face and
because you
all
might
that.
look like a fool, or
Yeah.
right.
Well,
Ask for
here's what I tell people. I said, I'm gonna ask this question now because I'd rather look a little silly now than a huge idiot later.
Yeah,
So
which happens more often than not.
yeah, it does. It
So
does.
so take action. Again, take the first step. Like I was talking on vulnerability, take the first step and ask.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it clears the air. And then form new habits. I talk to different people, and the one of the most common habits, for example, is like a person in an agency, a boss, a creative director, an account director. Um, Someone is presenting, right? Someone from the
Mhm.
team is presenting. You become, and uh, and there's someone who always interrupts the person several times. When you're in a position of right higher up, that's a bad habit,
Yep.
and it happens frequently in our business. So the solution is, you go to the next slide, is just, I use the if and then plan.
Yep.
If I feel the urge to interrupt a person, just I'll focus on listening and let them finish. Then I'll say my opinion. But this
Yep.
is just one of the examples that it's too often happens.
Oh, I used to, yeah, I mean, I would jump in on things and then it's like, you know what? I need more restraint. Restraint is
Absolutely.
a very undervalued
Yeah.
trait.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it's, yeah, that's something that I definitely had to learn
Mhm.
for sure.
So,
So,
this is a checklist, a very simple checklist for agencies or clients. Just look at it, and you do every time that you have
yep,
a campaign. Just look at that quickly
yep.
and check, check, check.
All right, let's
And
talk about AI.
what about AI? Right? So, but AI is worse
Yeah.
because it's in a way it's fed by humans, right?
Yep,
So here's a fact. So the algorithms are trained on data that reflect existing biases in society. The
yep,
results it perpetuates, amplify those biases in the marketing content that AI generates. And the example, an AI model might be more likely to use masculine pronouns, referring to a
mhm,
consumer who has not specified their gender. And that happens a lot. These three are real live examples that happened recently. So um,
mhm.
yeah, you can I mean, again, from Amazon had to stop using this algorithm because it was favor applicants who use words like executed and captured,
Yep,
more commonly found in men's
yeah,
resumes.
yep,
So
yeah,
anyhow, three
yeah,
examples there. And then the last part very quickly is something that I added to this. It's the bias against creativity,
uh-huh,
and we all have that. And the thing is that, and as a person in this industry, we cannot let this happen, right? So these are all studies. We praise innovation, and
yep,
inwardly we have an aversion to it.
right,
Think about clients. When I put this, keep there's like four of these. um, there's an implicit status quo is safe.
right,
um, Subconsciously, again, the same thing.
yep,
And the last quote is, this is a beauty. People have strong associations between the concept of creativity and vomit, poison, and agony. And this is a study by people that know, not what we think. No, clients sometimes they get
well, they get
agony
anxious.
when we
Yeah,
present them with an idea that's not. So we need to prepare the field. We always need to be aware of that.
mhm,
It's important, so, and
yep,
then the solution, there's plenty of solutions, and I'm going to put the solution in the words of CMOs or
yep,
CEOs. Okay, creativity is crucial to understanding and anticipating the future.
there we go.
As
Yep,
Patricio, there's a quote here. There's a study, uncover the markets who have mindset to let creativity grew up 50% or more than other brands.
that's a business. There you go, and
Yes.
there's fair,
And Tim
yeah,
Machado, talking about risk, they asked him if it was risky doing the risky campaigns that he was approving. And I said, well, risk is doing something that it's mediocre or flat.
right,
That's risk.
yep,
And then there's another study. High quality creatives generate over 4 times the profitability of their lackluster counterparts. Next one is, I love her. They were talking about data, and we're in there with
right,
data, and she said, "Yeah, data is great, but don't lose the intuition that we all have as creative people in this industry. Intuition
yep,
is better with data." Um, and the last
yep,
quote, well, another study, creativity emerges as the second most influential factor for advertising profitability, training only the size of a brand's presence.
mhm,
And the last one is, very
alright,
conservative company
yep,
that just closed last year at Cannes saying creativity is a superpower.
yep,
It grows markets, period. So that's the solution.
yep,
And that's who we need to do. And then at the end of every workshop, I give some recommendations.
yep.
You definitely need to read this book about creative people must be stopped, because that's the bias. No, but it's a
No, I
great
know,
book,
it's a great title.
a
Yep,
great title. And then the everyday bias is a superb book on daily things,
yep,
exercise that you can do. And then the other one goes more in depth on masking AI.
yep,
And then there's some links there, um, podcasts,
yep,
stuff you should know because it's curiosity. break the bias. And then this episode of 301, it's specifically about unconscious bias in marketing campaigns.
Yep.
There's something that you should listen to.
All right.
And follow. Medium.
Ed Cotton. We
Yeah,
love Ed.
Ed Cotton. Medium.com is a phenomenal site, so you can look at anthropologists, but they're current anthropologists, and they're talking about people
Yep.
and consumers and everything.
Yep.
And the other one is Nonfiction Research, which is a phenomenal research company. I am not linked with any of these.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yep.
I'm just
no hashtag ad on this one.
No. And
I got to spend time with John Hegarty in London last year.
Yeah, right. He's a legend, and he is.
Yeah.
He gives a lot of lessons. So
yes, he does.
And the last one is, this is me. Okay, I always give out my email, my phone number. If someone wants to contact me, if they have a question,
we'll add it in the post.
I will
we'll make sure people can get in touch with you.
Yeah, I always answer questions. Always.
Yes, you do.
I have time.
Yep.
So,
no, you and I are cut of the same cloth. You text us, we'll probably answer quick. So
always. So
old school.
Try me. I always say the same thing. Try me.
Yeah.
And
exactly right.
That's it. That's it, Doug.
I love this. Well, Luis. So again, this is one part of a multi-part program and workshop that Luis does. We wanted to just focus in on one part of it, but tell us about the other parts again. Refresh.
I have a workshop called Collab and Conquer.
Yep.
Which is about collaboration in the workspace and how we can get better at it. I have another one that's called what's the name of it? I forget about it. It's about the silo mentality also.
Right. Yeah.
Something that touches
I should have it in front of me like a professional, but I don't. But I do remember I do remember it.
No.
Yeah.
So those are the two that I have a full workshop on the imposter syndrome, and and the other one is strategic and creative thinking.
Yep.
So
it's agencies, brands, anybody in this business.
Yep.
Get in touch with Luis. We're gonna put we're definitely gonna put all of his info up so you can get a direct line to him. Luis, as always, thank you so much for sharing this with us. And it's great reminders. It's great thinking. It's indie thinking.
Indie thinking, yes.
It is indie thinking. But thanks so much for joining us. I'm going to have you wait backstage for 1 second. But thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Doug. Thanks, everyone.
All righty. Thank you to Luis. Seriously, get in touch with him. You will learn much. You will learn much. If you have something you'd like to talk about, something on your mind, indie thinking, reach out to us. Go to indieagency.news. You can get in touch with me via WhatsApp. There's plenty of ways you can get in touch with me, but get in touch, and we'd love to consider having you on and joining us. On behalf of everybody at Indie Agency News, I'm Doug Zanger, founder and editor-in-chief. We'll see you next time.